So
Oh, that's right, with baseball, don't they?
baseball, softball parent meeting tonight, so Keith might not be here. Okay, we're ready to go.
Okay, I will call to order the Columbus City Parks Board meeting, March 24th, 2025. We will do roll call first.
Roger Farrell.
Karen Cody?
Myself, Mark Ellis.
Matt Hayden.
Matt Hayden. And I guess we'll just go ahead and let you go through this agenda here.
Okay, do you guys have the minutes in front of you?
Yeah.
Any,
Oh, yes, I forgot about that. Yes,
There
I'm
you
sorry.
go.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we need to vote on the minutes. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done one of these. Everybody get a chance to go through these from this or the email that was received. Any changes or anything you want to do to it?
No,
I'll need a motion to.
I would make a motion that we accept the February 24th minutes.
I second.
Favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, now Matt, go ahead. I'm sorry.
you guys, we're gonna start out with something very, I don't know, stern. The policy against harassment, molestation of minors and vulnerable adults. Our HR person, Beth Igney, she brought this to me, and our workman's comp insurance people want something like this. So she wanted us to look it over, and then what we do is we say whether or not, if we change something or anything in here, then we kind of make a recommendation to her that this either goes the way it is, or we would, maybe prefer to have this kind of language in there for this.
Okay.
Then she has to take it in front of council.
We don't have to decide on this today then, right?
No.
Okay.
No. I can't say that. She was wanting it as soon as she could.
Is this something that she wrote
I
up
imagine
herself,
she
or is
probably
this
took it from somewhere.
Yeah,
model off of
she-
something that the city already has?
She did take it off of what the city already had.
Okay.
Yeah.
I questioned the volunteerisms because we have so many volunteers. And we get those one day people that want to come in and help out and things of that nature. She said, of course, that's not really what this is geared for. Then I asked about, well, how about people that come in? I had a really good example, and I can't remember it now. But you have a group come in. Oh, like for instance, we have umpires that we get from an entity on turf,
Okay.
and we have an agreement with them.
Mhm.
So they're getting the umpires and everything. They probably have their own, but I asked her, I said, does that fall underneath us? Because they're working for us. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I think it would be required that they get a copy of this.
Right,
And
and
sign
that's,
it as a acknowledgement also that they
Right.
that they did receive it,
yeah.
especially volunteers.
Yeah.
Even if it's just the volunteer section E here. I think there would be both then they would have to adhere to.
Yeah, this needs to definitely be looked over, and
Mm-hmm.
it's becoming more and more of a problem.
I know right now, while you guys are reading, I'll just give you the background. We do all of our coaches and things of that nature through baseball. We get them through my case. So we already do it for that entity. We don't do it for the rest, though. I mean, as far as our due diligence.
Now, that is like a background check on
It
each
is.
individual?
Yes. The problem with my case is that if you've done something in Ohio or Illinois or whatever, it's not going to show up
Right.
in Indiana. So I asked her about a checker. I got that information from it's it's an entity that checks everybody and that does statewide, and they actually, or not statewide, yeah, statewide, they have people checked out for Night to Shine. That's what they use for Night to Shine.
Yeah, they did that for me when I volunteered.
So that actually catches in a radius of that state, you know, if you're in Illinois or Ohio and whatnot.
So you said who goes through that process? All of the employees, the paid employees, or
Well, this would be for volunteers.
that's what I'm wondering, how will we, what the process will be, so is there, like some sort of like if someone volunteers, what is the process? They just come and
Well,
ask you?
Right now, somebody volunteers. Usually, it's like a manufacturing group,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll say, hey, you know, 80/20, they want to come and they want to help for 2 hours. So they
Right.
call, they come, they help for 2 hours, and then they go.
Oh.
The only thing that we do that's volunteer that you would be with someone for a very long time is coaching,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe any other events that we may have, like mother, son, and father,
Right.
daughter, and that particular stuff. But normally during the summer and the volunteerism, even the YMCA, when they do, you know, when they used to Day of Caring,
Oh, yeah.
you know, they just do it for a day and then they're gone. But
Well-
like for like master gardeners, I asked about that and they said, well, if they're going to be around kids, and that's kind of a you know, one of those gray areas because they won't have a kid working with them.
Right.
They are going to be in a kid area, but they may only work for an hour, and then they'll leave that day. But they're a group that comes back.
So how would they implement this? Like,
So
how would-
so what we would have to end up doing is we'd have to figure out how to mandatory get them screened.
Mhm.
It doesn't look like she has it laid out here. It just says mandatory screening for all volunteers, contracted staff, pool staff, intern staff, and child. Initial and annual abuse prevention training for all volunteers and contracted staff.
I'm not sure, a service group like a outside Indy, like 80/20 or Day of Caring or something, if they're not working with other people in the park,
Mm-hmm.
then I don't know that they would apply to that.
Well, and that's what she's saying.
You know, if they're coming in to
Right.
do, I don't know, put up a fence somewhere,
Right.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what
they're
the
just,
process
they're
would be.
amongst themselves, right?
Right.
You know.
Right.
I
Well,
mean, I get having employees and people like they're volunteering on a regular basis
Yeah, that's
and
different.
are working with
Yes,
kids.
that's different.
But
Mhm.
yeah, someone who's coming in for a day.
Well, yeah.
To, yeah.
so
Yeah.
so right down here at
Now, if it's a day and they're holding a training camp, okay,
Yes,
that's
that's a
Yeah,
different
that's
story.
different.
That's different.
But if they're painting a fence for a day,
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and it looks like here what it says is that a contracted staff or volunteer or whatever will have to be in the screening as follows. It has to have a written application for whatever entity they use, my case, checker, whatever, and then there'll be an interview, reference check, and then the criminal record background for my case. So this is not going to be something that, you know, can be just poof done in a matter of
right.
day caring or like what you're saying. It
Right.
won't be able to do that.
Right.
We'll be able to do it more for, and it's really even going to be hard for us to do mother, son, and father, daughter because a lot of times
Well, T-ball coaches.
we don't.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's t-ball, baseball,
Yeah, that
softball,
kind of stuff.
and we already
Soccer.
currently do that.
Right.
We currently do
Parent
that.
assistants and all
Right.
those type of things, yeah.
And we
And
do
that-
it for JFL,
He
you
was-
know, and all that.
yeah.
And that includes assistant coaches also,
Yeah. Mhm.
even though they're, you know, okay.
Yeah. So then they go through that process there, and then C, the reporting procedure of it. then it comes back to HR.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's reported back to HR.
So do we need to just define volunteer in a different way, or, I don't know.
I mean, I can write that down as a concern.
You know, I think, not that people have things to hide, but there's, like my dad was one of those people like, well, I'm not doing that, you don't get to see all my personal information, I'm not gonna have you do a background check on me. Even though he's perfectly
Right.
fine, but there's those people that they just don't want that.
Oh.
So that
And I
may, it may cause some issues with
think we
volunteering,
covered-
or if anybody that does anything in the park has to have a background check, I think that would
Well, and I think we've
definitely
covered
deter some
ourselves
people for sure.
with the word staff. For example, on the contracted staff. Okay.
Yeah, that's
As
normally
opposed
full-time.
to someone, so the word staff, I think indicates that those are the people that we have to have background on.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay, so I wrote down here the volunteer be defined.
Yes.
Yeah,
A volunteer being defined.
yes, I think that's necessary. That's a good
So
point.
that's one thing. And the rest of it is kind of just the investigation of how the follow-up goes.
Mhm.
Again, here's the code of conduct for volunteers.
And
So when you do the background check, is that basically it? I know, like, at the district, we have I don't know, a slideshow that we all have to
Mhm.
watch, and then we say that, we watched it when it comes to something like this.
Right.
Or is that something that they do?
Well, and that's part of what this is in
Yeah.
here is what they're talking about is the initial and annual abuse prevention training for all
Yes.
volunteers. So that's, I would take that as they're gonna sit and they're gonna do
There you go, yeah.
either a workbook or a
Mhm.
video or something of that nature to say that yes, they did
Okay.
have it.
It's more of an awareness type training.
Correct.
Yeah, so they can't come back and say,
And
I didn't
You
know.
do we get to a point
Oh,
where
well,
we
talk
say
about
what
my
constitutes?
exploits?
Is there a limit to what constitutes the harassment, molestation of minors, and vulnerable adults? I mean,
What do you mean constitutes?
okay, it's on, I got this off TV, 82-year-old coach for the girls' basketball team.
Okay.
They're up there cheering their team on. He can't see. He comes up and he grabs a hold of the girl's ponytail and jerks her around. Well, they fired him 10 minutes later. I mean, is that, I think there's certain degrees.
I think that's also something else that you're talking about. That could be like
It wasn't 'cause he
physical.
couldn't see, he was mad at her. I saw
Yes,
that, yeah.
yes,
He was mad
yes,
at
he
her,
was
yeah.
mad at him.
Yeah, I think that.
I'm
constitutes
saying there's
abuse.
different degrees.
But I think
I-
if a coach lays their hands on a kid, that's abuse, and they need to. be-
Absolutely.
And I
Absolutely.
think this policy here is trying to make moms and dads and
Mm-hmm.
everybody else that's in the community, I don't want to say feel better, but feel like they are putting their kids in good hands
That's what,
to
yeah.
to be coached
They-
or to be
yeah.
on the
Well,
fields
right.
and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Once you're-
And
yeah.
I'll
The
be honest
parent
with
needs to
you.
100% trust that the
Right.
Parks Department has vetted and has good quality people
Mhm.
that are gonna take care of
And
the
it is
child.
difficult having
Sure.
coached girls and boys and worked with
Mm.
them.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I constantly had to remind myself, don't touch them. Don't just talk to them, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I did have a habit when they'd come to the bench, if I'd take them out and sit next to me, I'd reach down and grab them on the ankle and say, nice job. I suppose someone could have got me for that. But, yeah, it's a touchy situation.
Yeah, and I think if we get the volunteer defined,
Mhm.
like get it, say, anyone that's gonna volunteer for a certain period of time or
Right.
something
Yeah,
of that
interaction
nature.
with
Or the
others.
interaction with kids,
Yeah.
yeah, something
Mhm.
where they're.
Or even adults, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Yeah, right. So I will take this back to her tomorrow. Let's see.
But we can't
Yeah, I
completely
think
control
everything else
every
is.
group that comes
Right.
in.
Right.
No. But, I mean, I think if we can define what a volunteer would be,
Sure.
get something more pinpoint, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Mm-mm.
But on that, I guess we'd have to probably make a motion of that, you know, it's good, except for you want to see the volunteer, and then that way I can move forward with Beth.
Okay.
So,
I move that we accept this as written once we define volunteer.
I second it.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
okay,
That's a great,
Okay.
great thing to do.
Yeah, I think this is good.
okay, so that's the biggest order of business.
That's an important thing.
Yes,
it
it's
is.
very
Yeah,
important.
I didn't know that, we didn't have anything like
It's
that.
something we shouldn't have to worry about, but we do.
We
We
don't
have to.
have
We
a
have to.
written procedure. Now,
Right,
there's
yeah,
things
I
that-
know there's things you're doing.
There's
Yeah,
things
oh, yeah,
we
sure,
do.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know that there wasn't. I guess I assume that, since the Parks Department is an entity of the city, and under direction from the city, that whatever policies that the city government has for the employees and everything else that goes on,
Mhm.
would fall into that as well, but this is
This
kind of an
is-
extension of it, which is good. Little different scenario with the park, right, with the volunteers.
Right.
Part-time help and everything.
right. You know, and once we get staff for the season and we're going, just the park itself employs about 60 or more people, and all but, well, I would say probably 80% of those are kids, teenagers,
Mhm.
you know, so it's definitely something to be aware of.
Yeah.
I'm gonna skip around here on the agenda a little bit, because C, the monuments at the flagpole. Do you guys know what I'm talking about there? If you go into Morse's and you got the flagpole up there at the top,
Okay.
Mhm.
okay? There's two concrete
Yep.
memorials,
Yeah, okay,
and that's supposed to be, I believe, for the Korean and Vietnam.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be for died in action or didn't make it, you know,
Missing?
missing in action. That's my understanding. Gary Bird, I approached him the June that I got hired in because I noticed that they were crumbling. And I approached him, and so we've been talking back and forth. We were going to continue to have it up there. He has since been able to, through his channels, get monuments that are, you know, like this and have a flat area. You know, they're just angled, and then he's going to have them transpose what's on the plaque and it's going to be engraved
oh, nice.
in the
Yeah.
stone. He kind of wanted to get it moved away from the park there, and so we come up with the idea of maybe over at Patriotic Park, because we do have that monument now of you know, you can order a brick
Mhm.
and put it there, and it doesn't matter if the person's still in service or, you know, missing or died, or
Mhm.
it's kind of, you know, Patriotic Park, it's kind of meant for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So, so I told him that I would come to you guys and get your approval or disapproval on moving that to Patriotic, and upon that, if it was approved, then he would take the placards off, take them to his monument guy, and they would start engraving them in. His hope would be is that he could get these placed over there by Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, that'd be
Oh,
nice.
great.
So that's why I'm kind of bringing it to you, and if we can get it, you know, done, I can get him called tomorrow, and we can start that process if that's something that you guys.
I think that's
I think that's an
fantastic.
excellent
I
idea.
think it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't
I,
see any reason why we wouldn't want to do that,
Yeah.
right?
I move
That's
we
fantastic.
accept that
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
as
second it.
written
Yeah.
or said.
No more discussion on that one, right?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great idea. Thank you, Gary.
And Gary will do a nice job.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
was
yeah.
my neighbor.
He's been a big advocate.
Yeah,
you know,
oh, yeah, definitely.
huge
definitely.
advocate, and
Well, it might get seen more now too. I mean, no one.
Well, yeah, because that's just a parking lot
Yeah.
now, and there's the flowers and stuff around it. Of course,
Right.
will the lights still be there and the flagpoles still be there for the state flag? And
there's a requirement with a flag
You have
that
to have light on it. so-
well, and it has to be so many looms. It has to be. They actually tell you how many.
Really?
It's candles. It's got to be 71.
candlelight, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be 71 candles.
Yeah.
So yes, we have to keep everything there.
I didn't know if the flags were gonna move with it.
Well, the thing that it will allow us to do, if it comes to that point, is we've been having issues with the flagpoles, with them staying. One, to replace one of those flagpoles is over $6,000. Yeah,
Holy.
for the exact same flagpole, that's $6,000.
You know why? Because it's a park.
It's because
I was
it's
finding from my yard.
yeah.
It'd be $200.
They're expensive but you know the size that we have, how big around it is, and it's probably wind rated for solar
Yeah,
and stuff
I'm
and all
sure,
that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But so what it could lead us to do then is we could eventually take it down to just one flag pole instead of having two. You know, it all depends. Once those monuments are moved to a better place, then that gives us some options up top.
Sure.
To keep it as is, downsize it a little bit.
Yeah, move it closer to the street, wherever you
Yeah,
want to do.
right.
Yeah,
It kind of helps
Yeah.
that situation.
That's such a great idea to do that.
The trail, it's going by your house, actually.
It is.
That's been started, obviously.
know,
You guys can
that's
see
fun,
that.
Yeah.
We had a trail meeting last week. They hope to be done by July.
Nice.
Obviously, they're moving very quickly on it. They haven't had too many problems that have popped up. They will be in the middle of State Road 9 before too long. And they're going to be making a pedestrian crosswalk there. So that means that there's a little island that people can get across,
island,
and
yeah.
then be in the island and then get across again.
Yeah.
Right there at the dairy barn, or
Oh,
yeah.
oh, okay,
Yeah. So the trail's gonna go up past BJ's,
okay.
and then right there at Dairy Barn, it's gonna cross, and then it goes right by Mark's house over to the west side of Chauncey. Then it goes down to Vine Street.
Okay,
Then it's already at Vine Street. And then it goes on across and continues on to Oak. But at Line Street then, where it crosses over, then it's gonna turn left, and you can see all the
South.
you can see all the construction going south on the west side of the road.
yeah, I've seen that.
That they're doing driveways and approaches and, you know, getting it all ready for that stuff. They've already got most of the, I believe, like pillar for the bridge.
So are they gonna, is it gonna be like a walkway just on the side of the bridge, or how?
No, it's its own
It's a
bridge.
bridge.
Oh, it's gonna be its own
Yeah.
bridge?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's,
yeah.
happy about that.
It's gonna look a lot like the one we have that goes across to Des Moines Grimes.
Oh, okay.
And then that'd be something that we'll have to look at as well, because, you know, there's possibility there of having golf carts on it. And I know that we had special verbiage for over there, so we'll have to take a look at that. And we'll also have to put some sort of ballard up for vehicles, because being out that side of town, darkness leads to
Two problems.
wandering,
Yeah.
and they could wander and go across that. So, but yeah, that's been a great start. They're going gangbusters on it. That south side, it didn't take them long at all to get through that woods and be poked out there by the heavy
They
equipment.
got dirt pile up there. So it will then cross back over to the east side of Line Street, right before the animal shelter then, right?
Yes,
Somewhere in that.
to
some of that
give you the
vicinity, and then
proximity.
Then go down by the
It's right where the subdivision turns right.
Oh, okay. Which street? There's two streets.
I know, you remember where Frank's Greenhouse used to be?
No.
Mhm.
Okay. How old I am.
I got you beat.
Okay. So right in between the, it would be the newest subdivision. So you got the railroad tracks, and then you got goes
Those
back
ones in
to
there, yep.
Plant, and then you got the other road here,
Mhm.
and then you've got this road,
Mhm.
and then you see the fencing, and then you have all the newer houses.
Yeah,
Right, well, it's that right there. Right
Okay.
there at that corner, they're gonna go across
okay.
and be on the county highway property. And they'll probably be on that for, I would say, less than 60 feet, probably.
Mm.
And then they're gonna corner it and go between county highway and the Humane Society.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
And then it goes down to the river, and it stays close to the buildings there that the school purchased.
Right, yeah, what are they called?
The Bradley, or,
No,
I don't,
shoot.
there's an old manufacturing building there.
Yeah, Radio Road.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a
Radio
Radio
Road.
Road building, but I forget what it's
Yeah.
called.
And it's just gonna kind of
Starts with a
circle,
B, I
It
thought.
does start with B, yeah.
goes around and
Brennan.
stays,
Is it Brennan? Yeah, whatever.
yeah, I think something like that. And then it actually will make it quick, and then it follows, you can kind of tell where it comes across, or it's gonna come across. They had to fill in quite a bit there. And then they went across the road, and they took out part of the fence of the wastewater plant.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So they're gonna have to redo that, and then that's where the bridge, there, from my,
Filing's already in, right?
my understanding is they got all that done, and the bridge is already constructed.
Oh,
So all I heard they're gonna do is they're gonna bring the
Bring the
crane
bridge.
and just crane the
Wow.
bridge over and set it right down,
wow.
Nice.
and then work on whatever needs to be to attach it or whatever. But see, they have to also do that within a time frame, because I think they had to do it before April, because that's the spawning season for fish, and they can't mess with the river during spawning season. So that's by the DNR.
Yeah.
So.
So be it.
You ever see fish in there?
Well,
I haven't.
they look back at me sometimes. Then updated on the skate park. It's coming along really well. I've seen some What's Up Columbia City. They posted some pictures
Mm-hmm.
on there. The soccer that we don't do anymore, they're doing it on their own. They're actually back there now. They started tonight with practices. And then I did get a dugout schedule from Mike Rozier
Oh, the rebuilding?
that's doing the cinder block for us. He said that last week he'd have one done, and he does.
Really?
He has one done. This next week here, he said he'd have another one done by the end of the week. And then he will move over to Field 1 and start over there. So with that being known, I was able to reach out to Kelly Searball with Street Department, and I just kind of asked him if he could kind of give us a hand, because this time of year we're trying to get so many things out, and we can't spend just the week or whatever it needs to be able to pour the concrete or whatever, and because we have to do the concrete yet, and we still have to build the roof, and we still have to stretch the fence. So if we could
Baseball's
get,
starting pretty soon.
yeah, so if we could get somebody else to help, and which they've graciously said yes, they will, and so they're going to help us out, and help us pour the concrete. Actually, pretty much do it except for finishing. We have one guy that knows how to finish, and so he'll go down with Jason Wells and help him finish off the concrete then. But then we'll have roofs to build and fences to stretch. So I'm hopefully that we can get everybody up and running by the end of April, and we only miss a few games, because we have a tournament starting on the 17th. So I don't think they'll be ready for that, but but we're gonna have to put our foot down on the accelerator for that. And then last but not least, I think I told you guys about the area park director.
Yes.
We had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 5 of us that attended. Yeah, 5 of us. I'm trying to picture who's in the chairs. We had 5. We had Wabash. We had New Haven. We had Huntington. We had Bluffton, and then ourselves. And we all. It was very good. We were already starting to do that. Hey, I've ran into this. Have you guys ran into it? And we were here a good 2 hours, talking and just comparing notes and going back and forth. And we've already got another one scheduled for August.
Nice.
And New Haven's gonna host that one. So that's kind of what we're gonna try to do.
That's really cool.
It was nice to see
Good collaboration.
that
Yeah,
Wabash
yeah.
was able to come up. We've got stuff out for Portland. That gentleman down there is new, and the one in Decatur, they're new, but they weren't able to show. But yeah, we had it was a great initial meeting, and I hope it just leads to really good stuff.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent way to do it.
It was a good idea.
I think it's going to go really well. So.
That's really cool.
Do you guys have anything that you got questions about that keeps you up at night and you want to know what's going on?
No?
Well, I know you got stuff that keeps you up at night.
Well,
But
yeah. Yeah.
Well, regarding the skate park,
yeah,
will that be lit up at night?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will it just be on timers, or will it have like the ball field where you just go turn on?
They're actually dusk till dawn.
Oh,
So if you drive by it tonight,
okay.
you will see what will be lit.
Oh, is there,
It's already up.
it's out now with
Mhm.
light poles?
Yep. Light poles are up. The electric department came over and they put up the light poles
Oh,
and
I
got
see.
it all going.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
um,
okay, 'cause they weren't the other day, okay.
yeah. So
That's
and
great.
they did hit the power line. So maybe they didn't have it because they didn't put it back together. They didn't put it back together. But
That's gonna be such a great addition to the community.
one other thing I wanted to make mention, just so you guys are aware, we had the new pickleball courts sealed last year, and we went to do some things in that maintenance room to get ready. Electrical, Kissinger Electric was in there, and we noticed it was bubbling. So we checked around, and there's quite a few spots that are bubbling on it. So it has a year warranty. We're trying to get the guys that installed it and get all that, and it's going to be roughly May is when they're going to come up and they're going to redo that area over there. Just letting you know in case you
Yeah.
hear.
Well, that shouldn't be an issue, I mean.
No, and we kind of kept people off of it for a little bit longer. We
people
opened
can
up.
still use it, right, until May?
Correct,
Yeah.
and we didn't let anybody on it until they looked at it.
Oh, yeah.
And and everybody was like, well, we want to play on these, we don't want to play on these, and it's just something we took a hit for a couple
Mhm,
weeks,
mhm.
and but now that that's all been said and done, I actually think it's a good idea because they do play on it, because there might be places that we didn't know,
Mhm.
and
Now,
then you go and you fix these spots, and then you got to have them
Is
come
it-
back
Are they
again.
just gonna fix those spots that need it, or?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Is
I'm
it
not sure.
is it a surface coating?
It is.
Like
it is
like you do epoxy on cement?
No.
Or is it just like painting the asphalt, or?
It's like painting the asphalt.
Okay, okay.
The way I can tell you is when you take latex paint out of the paint pan when it dries, and it
Mhm.
just kind of pulls
Mhm,
right up.
mhm.
Well, that's
That's what's
what
happening?
that's what this would do. Is
So it just didn't adhere very well.
it's bubbled, and so if you take and break that bubble, then you're going to be able to peel that up.
Yeah,
So whatever didn't make it adhere, you're right, it didn't adhere.
yeah.
So,
Hmm.
They
Um,
may
I
have
think,
to
I think
strip
it
all that and redo it.
might be a good idea just to redo the whole thing. I'm sure they have to have a certain temperature
There's
before
gotta
they
be
can
ways for
even
them
do
to
that.
patch it though. Cause I'm sure there's been
Well, yeah, but
accidents on other courts, right?
as much
Well, we'll let
as,
them figure it out.
Yep,
yeah,
they're,
yeah.
yep, they're the experts.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you guys know that that's
Yes,
what's,
yeah.
that's what's happening, cause people wanna know,
Well, yeah,
they wanna know.
they wanna
So-
get to playing pickleball.
So
Right.
once they do the sealant, will those pickleball courts be down then for a certain amount of time?
Yes, they will not be able to be played on for, I think the last time they did it was 72 hours.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Um,
I thought maybe
And-
We still
August.
get complaints,
And
yeah.
we actually didn't allow anybody on for 5 days. So we even went longer than what they specified for that down there. So we're like, okay, it wasn't anything we did,
Right,
you know,
right.
we didn't try to rush it, we didn't do anything like that, so.
That's gotta be hard for them to ensure that that will stay with the freestyle cycles
Mhm.
and all that with asphalt. and-
Yeah, they know what they're doing
Of course,
though.
they paint streets and
Well, yeah.
lines don't come off the streets. so,
Right,
Yeah,
right, so.
that's cool.
Yeah, yep, and I think that's all
Anything else?
I move the meeting be adjourned.
I'll second it.
Okay, all right. We're done. Bye-bye.